Today we have the great honor of having Martin Debus presenting for us Declarative Automation Bundles from Zero to Hero. Martin is a Databricks expert and principal consultant at Snowglobe in Hamburg, Germany, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So I'm very excited. You've been participating actively in this community, this European Databricks community. So I really appreciate that, and very happy to finally hear a presentation from you. So just get started whenever you feel like.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Very happy to speak to you. And as said, I will share some of my experiences with the Declarative Asset Bundles, formerly known as Databricks Asset Bundles. I've prepared some slides to cover the basics, and I will show some things in the Databricks workspace, how the bundles work, and some best practices and specialties. A few words about me. Paul did some introduction, but maybe a little background so you know who you're dealing with. I'm Martin Debus. I've been a data scientist for a long time on the SaaS Hadoop stack for over 15 years. And I've been working as a data scientist, building a data science team at the biggest grocery retailer in Germany, at Edeka. And during that time, we transitioned to Databricks. So my first touch point with Azure Databricks was in 2019. And after that, I founded my own little boutique consultancy called Snowglobe in 22. And since then, I'm exclusively focusing on Azure Databricks, doing consulting around Databricks, and especially in the financial industry. Apart from that, I'm married, have 2 kids, and I'm based in Hamburg, Germany, and we'll be going to the summit this year. We talked about it earlier, and would be happy to meet any of you guys if you're there. And from a role point of view, I was a data scientist. I did a lot of data engineering work, and now I'm more in the role of a platform architect, have some greenfield projects, some migrations from legacy data warehouses to Databricks. It's getting more and more interesting along the way. And sad as it is, I only started using Declarative Automation Bundles in early 26, so just half a year of experience there. So never had the chance to, in my projects, to actually use them, but got them at the beginning of this year, and have become a fan of it since then, and I am heavily exploring what you can do with it. Quick question: who's using these bundles of you yet? Maybe you can raise your hands digitally, so get a feeling using them. Okay, some of you, 7. Yeah. So I will cover the basics as well as some best practices, and those of you are experts, maybe you can correct me or add something that I'm not covering. So, and since we've only 1 hour, I think we will do with the basics and some best practices, and save up deep dives for maybe a later session. So let's go ahead. What does the pre-DEB world look like? In the early years, deploying resources to Databricks meant a lot of ClickOps, like clicking through the UI, copy pasting job definitions from one end to the other, from one workspace to the other, and maintaining all these job configs and other stuff in the repo and creating some custom code for that. And this was really tedious. And you could create, for example, jobs from Terraform, but if you've worked with Terraform, this could be a little bit clunky and doesn't feel very native. And you have to create your own way of promoting changes across environments, like from dev to prod. And to keep everything in line, you have to be very technical and apply other tools like pipelines and so on. And many data teams that are not that technical just did and stick to the ClickOps thing. So we never knew what was actually deployed and how. There was no standard way. And the Databricks Asset Bundles, or as they are called now, the Declarative Automation Bundles, they are solving this problem, or trying to solve this problem in a convenient way to as easy as it could be. And it's like infrastructure as code. It's based on Terraform, I think, but they're moving away with an own engine in the background, I think. And basically, you can say your DEBs are your Databricks data product, like your code bundled together with some YAML definitions. So it's your data product as a code. And in the DEBs, everything lives either as code or as a YAML file where you declare what's has to be deployed. And it's not just jobs and job configs. That's one of the biggest things you can deploy with that, but all other resources like compute or catalogs and schemas and so on, and they have the full deployment lifecycle. So you don't only can deploy it, you can validate it, you can run jobs, you can also destroy these resources, and they are powered. This is powered by the Databricks CLI. So all you have to install is the Databricks CLI, and you can run the bundle commands through the CLI. And the bundle itself is declared in the Databricks YAML file, which is the single source of truth for this data product you're creating, and all the resources belong into this that belong into this data product and bundle are connected through the Databricks YAML. And so you have everything in your repo, the code, the pipeline definitions, jobs, schemas, computes, permissions, everything as code in YAML files together with your custom SQL or Python code. And this actually gives you the ability to deploy it consistently to any target environment. So how does such a bundle project look like? You have something like a bundle root that would be the root of your Git repo, and inside this repo you have this Databricks YAML. This is the root config file. We take a look at this later on, and then you typically have some subfolders, directories like resources, where you store the definitions of your jobs, warehouse, or schema, and describe what kind of resources and how they should be deployed and configured. And then you typically have some kind of folder where your source code goes, like so if you have some notebooks and maybe some custom Python packages can live here, and you can store it, store everything in this repo. You can also add tests to your packages, so like a normal Python package development. You can store everything in this repo and bundle it with the declarative automation bundles. So let's get a step further into the Databricks YAML file. How does it look like, and what does it do? We will see it in full later on, but what are the basic things you can define here? This is in the DBase, you have so-called targets, and you can define any target like dev, staging, or prod, and you can define different targets in terms of different workspaces for each target. We will see that later on also. And you can also define variables that are different for each target. For example, we have a catalog, typically some catalog which is different throughout the targets. We define a default value like a dev catalog named dev catalog, which we use in the dev environment. But let's say we have a staging environment there, you can override this catalog variable with another name. So it becomes a staging catalog, and for prod, we have yet another variable like prod catalog. And when you're defining a resource like a job, it looks like this. And inside those resources and in any other place in your bundle, you can use these variables like var.catalog, and depending on which target you are deploying to, this gets resolved into the correct name. So you keep everything for all targets in one file, and during deploy time, you decide which target you are deploying to, and during runtime, all the variables and target-specific things get resolved. Okay, this was a very short trip through the basics of DABs. Any questions so far, or jot them down for later discussions? And I would move on to a short live demo. Let me switch. I will show you some I will show you some practical application of the Databricks Asset Bundles, some basics. And first, so as you can see here, like we just saw on the slides, this is how a bundle could look like. You have some, give it some name, then you've got all the variables, and as you can see here, I have defined two targets. The one target is dev, and the other target is prod. And I will walk you through what we're doing here in the first step. First, as you can see here, there's an include command pointing to the resources and to all the YAML files in there. That means it's including everything that's under resources as if it were in this Databricks YAML. You could also describe your job inside this Databricks YAML, but it's getting very big, so it's cleaner and nicer to have it in another place and just include it here. And if you switch over to our resources, as you can see which resources are defined. We have a schema. We want to deploy a schema, which is called DB example. And it is using variables like the catalog and a schema name. And it's also doing some grants, so you can also include permission management, like we have a group called Demo Reader, and it get the permissions privileges of using the schema and doing a select within all the data objects in this schema. Next, we have another. Yeah,
Martin, there's a question from Guide here, I think.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted, if you go back to the Databricks YAML.
YAML, yeah.
One thing that I found very useful is go away, is that you can, when you do include, you can do a glob filter there. So if you do if you do double star, you can then organize your resources folders. So if you have multiple pipelines, multiple jobs in the same bundle, that makes it just that much cleaner and easier to organize. So I would highly suggest. It sounds like you knew about that, Martin, but for the people that don't, you can do that.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to do. And you can, I would definitely recommend to do that if things are growing. For this basic setup, we can go with this. Thanks, Gail, for mentioning that. Switch back to my other resource, which is a simple SQL warehouse of the smallest size here, which is serverless and has an auto stop of only 1 minute, so we can save some euros. And these are basically the resources I want to deploy. I have a schema and a warehouse, and I have these 2 targets. As you can see, you can define a workspace host like the Databricks, Azure Databricks workspace here. As you can see, both hosts for dev and prod are the same, but you could use different workspaces if you have a dev workspace and a prod workspace and a staging workspace. You can use different hosts and deploy to different workspaces. For my demo purposes, I have only 1 workspace, so I use it for both targets. The only difference we can see here, and I will show you that in a minute, is that the mode I choose here is the development mode. And in the prod, I choose the production mode. Development mode is a very cool thing because all the resources you are deploying get prefixed with your name, or the name of the one who is deploying these things to the Databricks workspace. We will see that in a minute. Also, you can control where the data or all the code gets uploaded to in the workspace. And for the production mode, I choose to upload it into the service principal folder. So it is not living inside my folder. If you omit this command with the root path, it always chooses the folder of the deploying user to upload the data to. So it would be my personal workspace folder under users. So, and right now we could take a jump into the Databricks workspace. I have to switch a bit here. We take a look at my workspace. It's a demo workspace, and as you can see, it's basically empty. We have no compute here for the SQL warehouse. I have a catalog in place called Snowglobe demo, but I have no other schema or something in place, as you can see here. So it's basically empty. And I switch back to my VS Code in a second. And now we will run the deploy command. from inside the terminal, I have the Databricks CLI installed. And first of all, what you can do is run Databricks bundle validate, and you add a target like this. And what this does is it's basically checking if everything fits together and if there are any basic errors inside your bundle definition, and gives you some idea where it will upload the data to and using which user. Okay, validation was okay, so we can go ahead and just run Databricks bundle deploy, and we want to deploy to the target dev using the development mode, and then we go ahead. And I could skip the validation part because validation is part of the deploy step, but it's good to have some check before deploying. And as you can see, it uploads all the files to this destination. Next step is deploying those resources, which would be a schema and a warehouse, and maintaining some state. And then it's saying, okay, deployment complete. And I want to switch over to the workspace. We will stay in the workspace. I'm switching anymore. Yeah, so let's take a look. If we update the catalog, as you can see, the name of the schema was DEB example, and using it in development mode leads to a prefix added to this schema. So it's now dev_Martin Debus DAB example. If a colleague of mine would deploy in the same manner, he would or she would get a schema prefixed with her own name, so we can work independently. Same applies for the warehouse. As you can see, it gets prefixed with my name, and then after that, the name I defined in the resources. So this is basically what the development mode, which we defined here, does. It prefixes all the resources with the user name that is deploying things. Okay, so much for the basic deployment of some resources. I have to switch my branch here. Step on. What I just showed you inside VS Code, you can perfectly well do it inside Databricks as well. So I just checked out my repo to my home folder like this. And the same we just saw in VS Code, I can open up here, and it recognizes that this is a bundle indicated by this little rocket here, and side panel, or you can switch between a preview for the workspace and this little rocket here, and this gives you the ability to deploy within the workspace. You can choose the target, like the dev target, and it's running a validation, and it's displaying all the resources that are already deployed, like the SQL warehouse and the schema. And if I hit deploy, it would redeploy the resources, or checking if they are already deployed in the state I intend them to be. So basically, you can deploy via VS Code and the terminal or inside the Databricks UI, or later on I will show you how to deploy from a Azure DevOps pipeline. But if you prefer working in the Databricks workspace, you can perfectly well deploy it from here. You can also run delete deployed resources. That is the equivalent to running in the terminal Databricks bundle destroy on the target, and it destroys all the deployed resources. Like as you can see here, now my schema is gone. Would be not so good if there's any data in this, so be careful when destroying. If you run it in the terminal, it's asking you whether or not to destroy the schema where data might be living in. But it's very cool to clean up, especially when you're in development mode, to clean up your things and start from scratch. So you can always start from scratch and test your things. And if you're in some undesired state, you can always go back to zero and start from scratch. Okay, so much for the basic deployment of some resources. Next up would be a job and a notebook. So I have some branches here in my repo, and it's like adding new features. It's just like the first step we saw. We have no difference in the Databricks YAML, I think, and what I just did was I added a notebook, which is called Ingest Bakehouse. It's very, very basic. As you can see, we get a catalog and a schema through the widget. And I'm just reading some example data and write it to my schema, which we passing as a parameter. And for this notebook, there's a job which is using this notebook, and you can describe it as a YAML file as well. And you can give it a name, and it has some tasks. And as you can see, we are using these variables again. And since the name is dynamically created in the development mode, I can use resources schema DB example name to get the fully qualified name which is resolved during deployment. And I can have a relative path to my notebook which I want to run. And that's basically what we want to deploy in this step. And if we just run this, you can see what will happen. It will create a job, and the SQL warehouse and the schema we just destroyed will be redeployed. And if I click on deploy, it's just the same as running Databricks bundle deploy with the target dev. And as you can see here, it's deploying the resources. And then if we go back, there's the SQL warehouse again, and there's the schema again, and additionally now have a job, as you can see here, just like we defined it in the job YAML, and this job points to our notebook. If we go to this task and take a look, as you can see here, the path gets resolved to the code that was uploaded by the bundle deploy command, which is our ingest bakehouse notebook. And as you can see here, we have some parameters at the job task, and it is resolved like this. So we are using the correct schema here. And if I'm deploying to another target or in another mode, like the production mode, this schema name would change. And now we have this little job and can click run now, and a job run is triggered. If you're like me and don't want to create these job definitions by hand, you can always go to the Databricks UI, create your job with all the dependencies and 20 tasks or something, and then you could either bind this job to a bundle, or which is just a command on the terminal, or you can click here and take a look at the job definition as a code, and you can just copy and paste it into your bundle. The only thing you have to keep in mind is to set the hard-coded variables to something dynamic, but for the basic layout of the job, it's a good starting point. And as you can see, our little job ran successfully, serverless, so it's very quick. And as you can see, this table was written. And if I go back to our catalog and look into the schema, as you can see, this nice little data set table was written to our schema. Okay. So much for the job. Now we take it a step further, and we create something like a Python package, Python artifact. And how does this look like? Take a look. What I just did here is basically I'm adding another job, which is called job aggregate bakehouse. This is new. I have a notebook called aggregate bakehouse, which will be run by the job. And let's say I have some code, some transformation code, and that I want to run inside this notebook. As you can see here, I have a called Bakehouse Transforms package. And here I have a transform py, which is a very basic Python function, like aggregate transactions. I will pass a data frame into this function, and I will get another one out. And I'm just doing a group by of this product. So can be any complexity behind it, but just for a demo purpose, this is just a basic transformation, but maybe I want to run this in a different context, or want to have this tested by some PyTests and so on. So I just want to have my little custom Python package here. And take a look at the Databricks YAML. We have to add this to the YAML. It's called artifacts, and you can define your artifact. So what you want to basically want to do is to create a wheel file from this custom package and attach it to our job, so we can use it when we run the job. And this is accomplished by this artifact command. We point to our package which we want to turn into a WE file. We have also a setup py here describing this package and its version. Everything very basic, I know, but for illustration purposes. And inside this job, we can reference these this wheel file as a dependency. And as you can see here, this will cause some problems if I just add a counter or create a new version. So this has to be in the production environment. You would have to dynamically assign this to the job, but for our purpose, this is okay. So we link this wheel as a dependency to this job, and since it is a serverless job, we can do this by defining an environment and linking this wheel package to this job. And in this case, we will be able to use this package when we run this aggregate bakehouse pie. We can take a look at this. As you can see here, we are basically doing is just import it from the Baker's Transforms package, and then we can use it like this and create a new data frame and write it to our schema. So if you're wondering why I added this one, this is some best practice from the development perspective. I'm a heavy user of the Databricks UI, so I'm doing a lot of development inside Databricks and running things interactively. And this wheel file is only getting built when I deploy this whole thing as a job, and the wheel file gets built, and then I can use it as a package attached to the job. When I want to run this notebook in interactive mode, depending on which resource I'm attached to, it doesn't recognize this package since it's not built or attached to this resource. How can I mitigate this? I can just add this small piece of code here, and it basically checks if the bakehouse transform is in some way attached to the compute or not. And if it's not there, I just can add it to this path raw Python code of the package, and so I can test my package interactively. So if I run this step by step, I will run this on a serverless compute, and this serverless compute environment doesn't know this package or wheel, and will just add the path where this code lives to this path environment, and in this way, this command will work and import the aggregate transactions function. So I'm free to use it here in interactive mode and can do some debugging and stuff. It's quite convenient if you're working interactively with your and developing your package and want to try to test out some functions and so on before you package your stuff up and build it. Now we can go ahead and deploy for this. As you can see, we will have another job added to this bundle. See, it's adding another step like building Baker's transforms. This is the step where the wheel file is getting created, and then we will end up with a job. As you can see here, now we have the aggregate bakehouse job, which is basically running this notebook. Again, we have the catalog and schema parameter, and we have the environment as well. Let me check it. It's on the we have the environment and one dependency, and this dependency points to our build wheel package or build wheel file. So this is very convenient to do. Also, a little nice feature is the Git part of the job. You always get branch and the commit that was used to create this job. And this is very nice because you always know which commit is the one that was used to deploy this job, and so it's a good thing to have some lineage over what version of code was used for which job or for which state of the environment. Now I'm ready. I have some jobs. I have a schema and I have a compute, but I've tried it all with or deployed it all in the development mode. Now it's time to get to production. That could be also another Databricks workspace, but we will stick to this one. We just run it in production mode. And a good best practice is to do that via a pipeline. So I just created a Databricks in Azure DevOps. I created a Databricks deploy pipeline, which basically consists of only one step, and that is deploying everything that is in the main branch to the Databricks workspace using the Databricks Asset Bundles. It looks like this. It is also living inside my repo, and I have as a Azure Pipeline Deploy YAML here. And as you can see, every time something gets committed to main, the pipeline will run this command, Databricks bundle deploy, and I'm using the credentials of a service principal that I'm using for the deployment. So if we run this pipeline, it's disconnected from my user and is using a service principal to deploy things. And we just start this pipeline manually, and we will see that this pipeline is now deploying to the production target, which will lead to all these jobs and the schema and the SQL warehouse being created with all the prefixes, just like in a production environment. And it has no connection to my user in any way, since it's using a service principal. Let's have a look. It's deployed, as you can see here. Now we have this SQL warehouse, and it's not created by my user. It's created by this service principal, which is a deployment service principal. Next, when we take a look at our catalog, we have a schema without any prefix, just like the name was defined, and we have also the service principal as a owner of this schema. And finally, there are those two jobs also without any prefix. So this is what the result of a production mode deployment looks like. Okay, and so anytime I finish my development and commit anything to the main branch, this deployment will be triggered, and my latest developments are deployed to the prod target. Okay, so much for the quick overview of DEBs and cover basics. That's what I had prepared. I'm not sure if I've taken you from 0 to hero, but at least from 0 to some knowledge about the asset bundles, and it's very interesting what you can do with this. And I'm learning every day how to handle and best use them. Have very much to learn myself, but it's very interesting, and it's getting and evolving more and more. So I think this is how we will deploy everything in Databricks in the next throughout the next years as a best practice. So it's always good to have some knowledge around this.
Thanks a lot, Martin. It was a very clear presentation with a lot of the core functionalities. That's very good. We'll do a couple of questions before we turn off the recording, and then we'll do some questions afterwards. So if anybody have any questions they want to ask now, you're all welcome. I have at least a couple of questions, as usual. So I'll just get started with those. So how about cleanup? Like, let's say there's team members and they start building stuff. And have you done any automatic cleanup or looked into that?
Not yet. It would be something nice to have an automatic cleanup or something. But I haven't done it yet. So it would be best practice to do all the developers who are running things do a cleanup themselves. But we know folks, and it's a good idea to have some automatic cleanup. But I haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that via CI/CD. So this is the last step in the deployment process. It goes through all of the bundles and sees if there are any development bundles that are left, and it just nukes them all of them.
Oh yeah, that's cool.